4 a.m. fam, hello. Here is how I am going to move forward. Now, for the past couple of days, I have provided a soft space for people who are working through whatever it is they're feeling. I've also taken accountability. I've looked at my actions over the past few months, and I've owned my actions throughout all of it. I also talked about some of the healing processes that people are going through, shed light in that way, and was, again, making myself accountable. And there's a raven that keeps circling ahead. It was a spirit animal and a very powerful totem animal. That is they're right on my window. That is a beautiful sign for us today. But today is a new day, and it is time for me to move forward. And I'm going to tell you what that looks like for me. Now, for those of you who are not ready to move forward, and you certainly don't want to move forward with me, that is okay. That is fantastic. Own where you're at, be where you're at, and do what you got to do. I am here if you ever want to come back, but that's fine if you don't. We are going to come in and out of the orbit of various spiritual teachers in our lifetime, and that is a good thing. That is a healthy thing. A lot of us come from a religious background where we are taught there is only one truth and only one true leader, and you have to get aligned with that truth or else. But that is not how it works in the broader world of spirituality, where you learn to own your connection to spirit. And we can and should listen to various spiritual teachers, and we need to feel our own alignment. Am I aligned with that message and that leader? At some point, do I stop becoming aligned? And what does that feel like? And what does that look like? You own your spiritual path. You own your spiritual journey. And that's what this is about. So along with that, I'm going to invite you, my audience, to step into full accountability with me. It is time for everyone, wherever they're at, to own their part in this journey, both in what has happened in the distant past, recent past, and how we're going to go forward together if you choose to continue on this journey with me. Full accountability means you take responsibility for how you perceive these messages, how you interpret them, what you choose to believe, and how you allow that to shape your actions. We all have to do that at every step of the way. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop being ethical and stop taking accountability if I step out of line. It means I am letting go of anything that was never my responsibility in the first place, and I'm reminding you of where your responsibility lies. The only way we can move forward from this moment is if everyone acknowledges that they have free agency and accountability, that we need to walk the path with our head up and eyes open. We are going to be seeing things, hearing things, catching whispers, ideas of things, a lot of crazy things all across the spectrum as we go forward. These are the times we're in. And as you go forward and you encounter these messages and see these things, it is up to you to use your own discernment. Do I believe that? Do I align with that? Is that my truth? Do I want it to be my truth? And how do I choose to take that message in and then go forward in my life? Really, if there's anything I regret over the past few months, it's not doing more of that, not holding more of my audience accountable for their part in the journey. And I got to tell you, I actually did that intentionally. Normally, in the past few years, as a spiritual practitioner and as a somewhat public figure, I have expected people to own where they're at in their spiritual journey, because typically when someone comes into the orbit of a professional psychic, they're already pretty established on the path and they understand that level of accountability, or they're beginning to come into it and that's their responsibility. But early on, as my view counts and my audience grew, I realized very quickly that probably the majority of my audience, at least at that time, was people who were new to the spiritual awakening. So I backed off of the full woo stuff and I was softer and I was probably taking on more responsibility than I should have. I was holding everybody's hand and walking with you every little step of the way, unpacking information for you, feeding you my opinions. I took on too much responsibility. And as a parent raising children, I understand both why we do that out of our love and compassion and making sure that our children have what they need before we let go. But I also understand the necessity of letting go and letting them step up, letting them learn through contrast and mistakes, letting them experience all of the outcomes of their actions. So unless I end up doing something egregious in the future, I am done apologizing. You've all chosen to listen to me, to be here with me, And if you choose to continue going forward, we will all own our individual accountability. And if at any point along the way, again, because I'm teaching, how this looks for someone new to the spiritual path is that as you go along and you start paying attention to messages, sort of ingesting these ideas and concepts, it is then your responsibility to sit with that message, process it, feel into it. How does it make me feel? Do I like that? Do I not like that? Why or why not? This is the inner journey. This is how you build your discernment. And there will be various times where the people you have chosen to follow, you might feel uncomfortable with what they put out. You might not love it. Or you might cling a little tightly to something that later makes you feel uncomfortable. That is very normal. And it doesn't mean that this spiritual teacher is wrong and you've been led astray, and that's not necessarily the truth. It's that as we go along, we're going to come in contact with messages that we vibe with, and then later we're going to pull away. That is your responsibility, and that is a very healthy process for everyone to go through. So if you later decide that you no longer vibe with Gia, I wish you well. I love you. Thank you for being here, and I'm proud of you for using your discernment and walking the path that you need to follow. So here's what you can expect from me going forward. I am still going to be your psychic big sis if you want that. I am still going to be soft, and I'm going to model different things and teach different things. But I'm going to zoom out and look at the big picture, which I have done all along. But I've gotten a little too attached to what's going on politically, and I've neglected the bigger picture. Not entirely, but it's time for me to look at that and speak directly to that. I'm going to go full woo, a lot more. And if that's not where you're at, I understand. But that's kind of my other primary mistake in watering down my message, watering down my essence. I was not being a good servant of the message that wanted to be born through me. So that is my number one allegiance now, is to spirit and to my connection and to the messages that want to be born through me. But most of all, I am going to fortify you as my audience for those who wish to continue. We are going to step up as the leaders of this new world. We're going to learn. We're going to speak up. We're going to grow. We're going to make mistakes. That's okay. But we are going to step up as the leaders of the new earth that is emerging now. Yes, it is emerging as the old is crumbling down around us. That is how it always works. And you get to choose. Am I going to sit here and scream and cry as the towers fall around me? Or am I going to say, I am prepared. I'm ready for this moment. I'm ready to rise from the ashes. I'm ready to move forward. I am ready to create the new. And I'm going to be your hype squad as we do that. And I hope you'll stick around with me. If not, I fully understand. But it's going to be really exciting as we step into our power to face whatever comes our way.